I'm going to get on a little soapbox here. I don't mean to be morbid, but we never know when somebody's going to leave the earth. And the older people get, the more chances they have than a younger person. That's just obvious. One of the legends of the Hill City in my eyes is Mr. Tom Trice. He played basketball at EC Glass. He actually stays involved with the Hilltoppers by transporting them to some away games. The other night, I had a chance to catch up with him at Brookville High School, and we just talked about some old basketball names. Now, I'll tell you a quick story. This year before the Jug Bowl, Heritage and EC Glass, I got to meet Tom Trice. I don't know if that would be a bucket list item for a lot of people, but when I get to meet a guy that can tell me stories about the older days, sign me on up. And it was an absolute privilege to talk to Mr. Trice outside of the press box at City Stadium. I know there are a lot of other great people in the Lynchburg area and beyond that can give historical nuggets, and I love all them too, but I had never met Tom Trice before. I really didn't have an in. Of course, there are people that could guide me towards him, but we had never been in the same location to where I let my fears go down the tube and say, hey, I'm going to go up and meet Tom Trice, because to me, it is more of a legend of a man. And I got to talk to Tom Trice, and I hope to talk to him a lot more here on the Sports Buffet podcast. Talking to Tom Trice, EC Glass basketball legend. Talk about how it was playing at Glass when you were playing.
Well, those days it was a lot different than it is now. There was no three-point shot. There was a slow-down motion in our approach to the game because it was all a defense. We ran a defense that Coach Bryan invented many, many years ago, and it's just a different type of game because it's a fast-paced game, and we didn't play that style of game.
To me, if we're talking about a Lynchburg basketball legend, Jimmy Bryan definitely goes on that list. Give me some memories of Coach Bryan.
Oh, he was just a gentleman, and he was always positive with everybody, and he was just the type of almost like a father figure to so many people, and we appreciated that. You never heard him say a cuss word in his entire life that I can remember, because that just wasn't his nature. He was just a genuine gentleman.
I remember one of my thrills was sitting outside the City Stadium press box this year talking to you, and you talked about all the basketball camps you went to. I believe one with Jerry West, and then one with, I want to say, Nate, I can't remember if it was Nate Thurman or Nate McMillan, somebody smaller. Tony Archibald.
Yeah, well, that was back in the day when I was still playing. I was going to a lot of basketball camps all over the East Coast, tell you the truth, from Rhode Island to Villanova to Maryland to Duke. And that's where you end up as a player. When you get in a situation like that, you play other counselors who are coming from schools all over. And so they were very, very competitive games, and I enjoyed it because you got better and better as a player. And that was kind of important to me growing up and when I played at Virginia Tech.
I feel like people might not know Jerry West nowadays, but they should. How good was he?
Well, he was one of the all-time great basketball players to come through West Virginia as an All-American and a great pro player for the Los Angeles team. And he was one of the great shooters to ever play the game. And when you put the championships that they won and the great players that he played against, he was one of the very best.
When we look at basketball now as opposed to what it was when you were playing, what's the biggest change, the dunk or three-point land?
Well, I think the three-point shot has changed the game so much more than anything else. Of course, the dunking is kind of a showboating type thing, in my opinion, but that's what people like to see. And, of course, when you put those combinations of the shot clock in college,
right,
as opposed to, I don't think we'll ever see it. I hope we don't in high school. I don't think it's necessary, but it is part of the game now at that level. And, of course, it's changed the game a lot. Now when I played, we would run an offense, and it was more structured. Now it's more of what I call a freelance game, running up and down the floor and seeing how much you can, how many shots you can get off.
If I told you could watch one player of any generation, who's in the Tom Trice VCR or DVD, I guess it is now?
Well, there's so many players. It is hard to single out one person, but probably the person that was the most entertaining player that I ever saw, I never played against him, was Pete Maravich. Mm-hmm. And if you ever saw him play, it was a show. And, of course, there were great players that followed him that were as entertaining, but Pete was one that always will stick out in my mind as one of the most entertaining basketball players that anybody will ever talk about.
I think one player that a lot of people don't probably get to know about or anything is a Lynn Bias type. How good was Lynn Bias?
Well, I never played against him
right.
We never played Maryland at Virginia Tech, and obviously I played against him, though, and he was just a man. Sometimes it seemed like he was playing with a bunch of boys. But he was just a very, very talented player. And, all of those people that at Maryland came through with Lefty Driesell, and I worked at his camp for a couple of years, and it was a great experience because, you were playing with and against the best players.
Give me your best Lefty story.
Well, Lefty was a showman.
Right.
And he was, let's just say, he was a good storyteller, and he did embellish a few things over the years. And not that he was just a really an interesting character, even at the basketball camps. I can't give you any specific things that I would tell anybody because there are a lot of things that, there are stories that are best left unsaid.
Is Lefty smarter than people give him credit for?
Oh, I think he was. I think he knew how to get the kids into the situation and let them kind of really display their skills. He wasn't the type that he was like Dean Smith. They were a little ahead of their time, I think, in a lot of regards, even though Dean Smith was more successful. But they are just people who, had a big impact on the game, and the players that he worked with turned out to be great All-American players.
I think I could talk to you for 2 to 3 hours, but I'm not going to make you do that. But in closing for now, give me one of your better stories from your playing days at EC Glass.
Well, I think we were just laughing about this. They were asking, when was the last time EC Glass finished the season undefeated? And I said, well, we did have a pretty good year when we won the state championship. We lost one basketball game to Grimsley of Greensboro, and they lost one game to EC Glass. We went on to win the state championship, and Grimsley of Greensboro won the state championship in North Carolina. So it was really, it's kind of fun to talk about the fact that, The only team we lost to was not in the state of Virginia.
And the Seminole District was no such thing back then for you guys.
Well, I don't know if it used that term. It was District 4
right.
or, they had different names. We were in the Western District.
Right.
And, we were playing Patrick Henry and William Fleming and Jefferson
yep.
and Andrew Lewis and Halifax and GW and those teams. And they were all division. Back in my day, it was 3 divisions.
Yep.
And we were in the larger division with those teams, and the district meant something, whereas now it's all about regional play.
Now, back then you were still playing GW Danville type of thing. Was the rivalry for basketball as intense as it was for football?
Our biggest rivals were Patrick Henry of Roanoke
yep.
and GW Danville.
Okay.
And let's just say there were some very physical games played with those teams.
Mr. Trice, always appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Well, it's nice chatting with you again. I hope you have a good day, and I hope we see a good run with EC Glass this year, because I think they've got a very fun team to watch.